Welcome everybody to San Francisco Zine Fest Cyberfest, our event that is running from September 6th to September 26th. This is family-friendly figure drawing with Katie Longiway and Wahab Algarmi. Very excited for this. Just a little housekeeping to let you all know what is happening. Welcome everybody to I'm sorry, that is things happening that should not be happening in the background. First off, I'm going to talk a little bit about San Francisco Zine Fest, go over some house rules and expectations. I'm going to introduce you to our wonderful, wonderful artists who are helping us out today, and then we will have a figure drawing session, and then we will close out the event. And San Francisco Zine Fest was founded in 2001 as a gathering place for writers and artists from around the world, but especially the Bay Area. Typically held as a one-day event at the County Fair Building in Golden Gate Park, our 2019 festival had about 240 exhibitors and over 5,000 attendees. Due to COVID-19, our 2020 festival is going 100% virtual, and that is what you're watching right now. So what is Cyberfest? We have 3 weeks of online programming running from September 6th to September 26th. This is the beginning of week 2. Welcome everybody to week 2. We've got exhibitor show and tells, readings, demos, interviews, and events like this. And we have 3 guests of honor. Our guest of honor for our first week was Alex Combs. Our guest of honor this week is Death Peace Sun. And next week, Tana Tucker will be our guest of honor. I just want to read our safer spaces policy so that everybody understands the expectations here. We are committed to providing a harassment-free experience for everyone, regardless of gender, gender identity expression, sexual orientation, disability, physical appearance, body size, race, or religion. We will not tolerate harassment at SFZF events in any form. Individuals violating the safer spaces policy may be sanctioned or expelled from the space or the event at the discretion of any SF Zine Fest organizer. So please respect people's opinions, beliefs, differing states of being, and differing points of view. Always get explicit verbal consent before taking someone's photo or crossing other personal boundaries. Please understand that as we're having a figure drawing session right now. Be responsible for your actions and aware that they may have an effect on others regardless of your original intent. And a safe and respectful community is everyone's responsibility. Guidelines for Zoom, that's for the people in the meeting, obviously not the people in the live stream. Keep your video off unless you're presenting. We have 2 presenters plus our ASL interpreter today. This will prevent lagging and also make it a lot easier for folks at home to see what is happening on the screen. Keep yourself on mute unless you're presenting or asking a question. If you have a question, ask in the chat. There are chat moderators who will assist you. ASL interpretation today is provided by Gregorio, Nieto, and Ashley Rodriguez of the wonderful ProBonoASL. If you're in the Zoom meeting, you will be able to pin the interpreter's window if you need to. For folks at home, we will always have the interpreter on the screen. This Zoom session is being recorded and broadcast to Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And above all, please be respectful. All right, we have 2 artists joining us today. Our wonderful model is Katie Longiway. Katie Longiway is an artist and magical girl. She's been publishing her own comics for over 10 years, including the award-winning Rock, her space opera, and Munchies. Her first graphic novel, Debbie and Pearl Digital Detective, is out now. She lives in a haunted house with her partner Josh and a small army of transforming robots. And you are probably pronouncing her last name wrong. I hope that after all these years, I am not pronouncing her last name wrong. It is Longiway. This is a free figure drawing session, but tips are very much welcome for our model. And you can tip Katie at paypal.me/Katie Longiway. And our teaching artist today, who will be showing us the ins and outs of basic figure drawing, is Wahab Algarmi. Wahab is a Bay Area native who has been creating self-published comics since the early 2000s. His major works include several issues of Titillating Tales, the Town of Crazies anthology, and the highly regarded The Society of Unordinary Young Ladies. As a firm believer in sharing knowledge, Wahab also teaches occasionally and helps budding storyboarding art and comic artists through his lessons at storyboardart.org, a premier online community for all levels of story artists. Wahab is also an accomplished fine artist, having been part of several group shows, including a show at the Legion of Honor in San Francisco. He resides in Oakland, California with his wife, son, and daughters, while continuing his comics and illustration work. Welcome, Katie and Wahab. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, everybody.
All right. So what are we going to start with, folks?
Yeah, 2s or 5s?
Oh, 2s or 5s?
Yeah.
Let's well, I don't see you on screen at all right now, Katie. Oh, there you are. Oh, hey, hi. Okay. 2s or 5s? That's a good question. How about even shorter, just really quick?
1s?
So,
okay.
Huh? Yeah, not even just 30 seconds. Just your drawings. So before you launch into it though, let's explain to people how we do this type of stuff. So with figure drawing, you usually want to warm up a little bit, and you start with really short poses, 30 seconds. Katie was saying even 2s and 5s, and then you go up increments, whatever, 5, 10, 20s. 20s, if you're using a live model, is about as much as you want to go, because you want to give the model a break. And it seems like it's not difficult, but it really is to stand there for 20 minutes in the same pose. So you don't really want to go over that. Ideally, you want to be doing this live and not on screen, of course, because the computer kind of flattens everything out, or screen flattens everything out. But this is, the world we're living in, so we're dealing with it. And it's still pretty fun. Katie has an awesome costume on today. There's a lot of ellipses going on. She's got like 2 rings around near the bottom of her hip. There's like a turquoise one and then more of a purplish one. There's a really nice collar that's going on too, with like multiple parts to the collar. That's like a double collar. Katie, can you scoot in a little bit? Katie, can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay,
thanks. I'm watching you on my computer screen, so there's a bit of a lag.
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. And she's also, I can tell you, she's also got those like thigh-high socks, and those create nice round ellipses. So these are all things that we're gonna like pay attention to when we're drawing, right? So these are gonna help us to create circles and stuff like that. Now, she finally scooted up on my screen. Great. It is a bit of a lag, but I can see you from my phone too. So some other things I'm noticing about your costume, you also have these light lavender purplish lines that down from the heart-shaped collar to your chest to the belt. So those are also going to help us figure out all these things about the figure and which way the figure is moving. She has those really cool anime shoulder pads that jut out. So that's going to help us give like an angle, like she's either standing like that or she's standing straight up and down. A couple other things, the way she's standing right now, all her weight is supported on that back leg, on her right leg, I guess, and her hand is on her other hip, and her hip is raised. So you know what? Let's just launch into that one, Katie. So I don't know if you've moved already, but let's just stay there.
Oh, I got it.
Like 30 seconds, really quick. I'm just going to map it out. Boom, this leg. Her other leg's moving forward right there. Her hands on her hip. Usually I'll start with the head, but I was already looking at that at that leg, right? And there's the hula hoop. I'm not really, look at that. That's awful. That hula hoop, right? And there's her big shoulders. And here's her head. So right there, that's just quick. That's 30 seconds or, whatever it is. And that's just the gesture drawing. So this is like a roadmap. This gives you an idea of how this figure was standing. And then if you really wanted to go and add on to it, right, you would start adding the costume and getting the proportions right and stuff like that. But we're just going to switch it up. Go ahead, Katie. Switch it up on me again. And we'll see. So you go, let's start with some 30s then, okay? So I'm gonna start drawing 30 seconds at a time, and then we'll take it from there. So, all right, and I'm gonna go. Start with the head. So 30 seconds, really quick. And I'm just going to keep drawing until I see her switch up. And then when she switches up, I'm going to switch up myself too. Get a new sheet of paper and get going. So as much information as I can put in this in 30 seconds, that's all I really want to do. And I'm paying attention to these cues right here. She's got nice short sleeve jacket on too, and that helps to show, like I said. So these give you an idea, all these ellipses. So the great thing is she's got the ellipses on her outfit. She's got the ellipses on her socks and on her arm sleeve. So those really help you show which way she's pointing, right? Okay, cool. Bam. And Katie seems like a pro at the modeling thing. Like she's done this before.
Really... I used to for many years.
Yeah. Yeah, you absolutely know how to pose. So see the bottom of her jacket creates this ellipse. It wraps around the form. That helps. And these proportions are probably, not the best. But at 30 seconds, I'm not really worried about that. I'm, one, trying to just keep up. Two, trying to make sure that I get the gesture. I want to get the idea of how Katie's standing. That's what I really want to do. I've already drawn this head way too big for this paper. Great thing about digital is you can erase quickly. She's got nice twist too to her body. And thank you, Katie. It's been a while since I've had a live model, so this is pretty awesome. That knows what they're doing too. Like I'll draw the kids and I'll draw other people standing around, but it's been a while to have somebody that's actually posing, so that's fun.
Wahab, can you tell us a little bit about why these short poses are so great?
So thanks for asking. It warms up your muscle memory, reflexes, get all the kinks out. It's just like any type of exercise, really. And it really helps to get you warmed up for the day. When I teach, I usually just teach people, there's a couple exercises that I like to teach. I'll probably lose this pose from Katie, but I just have people do ellipses over and over. And this is great exercise too, to get warmed up, or just straight lines on a page. And when I'm teaching kids, the kids make fun of me because they think this is just so silly, but this really does help with your muscle memory reflex, and it gets your hand warmed up and ready to go. So that's a really good one. Let me see if I can catch this, even 5 seconds from this one, because this one's a fun one, Katie. Oh, there she goes. Let me see if I can catch them. Remember the rest of it. And the really important thing too is to get the head and the legs down, and then the arms, sometimes you can move them around on their own. And we're about 20 minutes in. So Katie, after this one, you can take a break.
Sure.
And then we'll talk about what we've done. This one's a great one. Nice ballerina twist to it. And then
God, I still had my glasses on. Oops.
I think, okay, there we go. So, yeah, that was about 20 minutes worth of drawing. And let's just see, what I did. So these, before I jumped on here, I did a little warm up just out of imagination. Let me see. Yeah. And these are just fun sketches. The bottom ones here are my kids, even though that one's kind of gross looking. But yeah, I just draw my kids squiggling. Even squiggles, little squiggles help you get around and get the funk out of your system. So I did a bunch of figures, different things going on, just to get the kinks out. And then I jumped on with you guys, and this is the first one with the hula hoop. So again, one of the important things is just getting the gesture down in these 30-second drawings. After that, you start wanting to build up the proper proportions. And then even further on, like even at 2 minutes, I'm not thinking about the detailing of the costume yet, but it really does help. So right here, you can see that this ellipse, oh, hold on a second. This ellipse right here, it's facing this way, right? So it's moving in that direction towards the back. If it was going this way, we'd be moving this way with our leg. But like I said, all these little things help. So this one, you can see the arm, it's going back a little bit because that ellipse is moving down. If the arm was coming towards us, it would be more like that kind of a motion. Yeah, so let's just go through these real quick. Here's another great one. And again, the ellipses really help you. One of the things you want to do is when you're drawing these figures, you want to remember where the foot is planted. What's really hard with some of these is which foot is holding up the weight. So here, she's got her legs spread a little bit, but you can tell that this one right here is probably holding up a little bit more of the weight. Usually also it goes just in general under the neckline. So if I follow a line straight down, her neck is around here somewhere. Sorry. Where's that one? That one. Okay. So if I make a line straight down, that's where her weight is distributed. All right. So let's get into a little longer pose, Katie.
Sounds good.
All right. What do you want to do? I'm pretty warmed up now. I think I can handle whatever you want to do.
5s would work.
Okay, so 5-minute pose. All right.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since I've done like traditional figure drawing, so I'm going to try to pace myself properly. Usually I just draw really quick now. A lot of my stuff is sketches. A lot of the work that I do is layout work or sketchy work for another artist to finish. So I'm not really worried about a finished piece of artwork. But the important things are getting the gesture down, getting the ideas, the basic ideas, as much information as you can to give a good idea of what's going on. And that entails lighting, shading, costuming, all that, but not necessarily to a level of finish where you're going to be like, I don't know, rendering like you're a Renaissance artist either. All right. So I think Katie's ready. And that looks pretty good. So look at So first of all, I'm going to tell you right now, her left leg is holding her up, and that's pretty much in line with her throat. If we were looking at her from the front, that back leg, the right leg is kind of even, I don't even think it's holding her up a bit. So if she tried to do this one for like 20 minutes, it'd be a little harder. Her hips, her weight, actually, she's a little tilted. Let's see. So I see, whoops. Maybe it's not that leg that's holding her up. Maybe it is the back leg. Maybe she's got heels on, because I see her body doing this. I see this shoulder down, this shoulder up. And then, so that means her hip is up on this side, right? And if her hip is up, then this is the one. Oh, yeah. All right. So I was right. All right. So go. Oh, moved a little. See, I told you that was a hard one. Head is tilted. So I want to get the idea of the head is tilted. It's resting on her shoulder. You got this big thing over here. Right. And then it tilts back. Her body tilts back. And then this hip is holding up her weight. And then it goes down. And I drew this way too big. I'm going to shrink it. That's the great thing. Leg. And then back leg. And then down here, the ellipse is turned downward because we're looking down at these legs. Right. Up here, the bottom of her skirt, the ellipses are curved the other way. And I'm just going to lighten it. And now this is a roadmap for me. And I'm going to go add a new layer. So this is digital age. I can do this. You know, back in the day, you would just draw really lightly until you wanted to make the proper mark. And then you would trace over it darker and darker. Now we can just shut off all of our pre-planned drawing or our sketchiness. So here we go. And like I said, I'm on a delay with Katie, so I don't know when she's gonna move. But I'll just keep working until I see her stop on the camera or on my screen. I'm watching live with you guys on Facebook right now. So I got this great shape on her collar, that round collar, right? It helps to place her. And she's got this other ornamental collar with the hearts. And then this shape, I don't know what you call this. I guess it's just the ornamental piece. Maybe like a suspender. I don't know. I'll call that the suspender part. So we'll all be on the same page. Neck goes down. This big piece right here. Uh-oh. I know I only have like a minute left because I heard her change. So let's see if I can finish this off. And the great thing is I already have the roadmap. I know she's about to change because the timer went off in real time. But I have all this underdrawing. So if I want to, I can go back. Yeah, there she goes. She finally flipped on my screen. like I said, I have all this information right here. Right. All right. So let's try another one. Okay. So again, real quick, her hand's on her hip. That hip is the one that's up, and the other side of her hip is lower. So that helps you know that that hip that's higher, that's the leg, the one on her right leg, one on the left side of our screen, is the one that's holding her up. And then everything else is tilted because of that. So here's her shoulders here, and then it goes this way, and then a pop right here, and then and then this leg, the left leg is really loose, and I mean loose by like you can kind of do whatever you want with it. Like if you wanted to change something, right? You can make her leaning against the wall. You can make her kicking out if you wanted to, because the other leg is the one that's holding her up. So that really doesn't change. The right leg doesn't really change. The left leg, you can change it if you want. You can also change the arms a bit, not too much because you don't want to mess up with the shoulders, but here, back, and we're gonna plant her hand on her hip, and this other hand is gonna come out and hold this fancy ray gun. And we're gonna do ellipses. This one's coming out from the back. Tilt it a little bit. Her nice collar. This collar shape helps to really place her too. Her hair lying on her shoulder helps a lot too. So now I'm adding in the items that'll help really show off which way she's standing. Right, all these ellipses in the costuming, right? Oh, so now at 5 minutes, I'm starting to do something here where it's folds in the clothing, right? So like that on the elbow, these folds will help to even further distinguish how she's standing. And the folds are also additional ellipses. So they also help give off a vibe of which way that limb is moving, right? So if you have this, imagine all her limbs are like pool noodles, right? Like this is a giant pool noodle. So if it's going receding into space, let's say we have this giant table, right? And there's a pool noodle on top. So her arms or her legs are like pool noodles. And it's going back into space this way, right? So we have a grid that we do in comics and in storyboarding. So her ellipses are going to move that way, right? Let's see. And then if we wanted to do another pool noodle, have it go that way. And all these ellipses go that way. So here her leg is moving this direction. Anyway. Well, I think she just finished her pose. And I didn't draw the leg. Oh no. Now what do I do? Shoot, guys. I didn't finish this gun. But that's unimportant. Because that is, you know, it could just be on the fly. I got the most important parts of this drawing down, which is the way her body is moving. This leg, like I said, this is the leg that's holding her up. So this leg, just with a few changes, let's say I moved the bottom of her skirt on that side of her leg and I just lifted it up a little bit, right? And I can make it like she's like planted against the wall or something. And I'll just change these ellipses so we can, right, see the difference. And then you add the ellipse. So when you're using a live model, don't be scared to change something if you want to, right? And this, then you can start building stuff from over here, and then you can start adding a story and doing other things to it. This is why we have the live models, right? So they can add something. She doesn't have to be wearing glasses like Katie. She could be wearing like space goggles or something like that, right? But anyway, so there's that. And I think Katie's moved on to a new pose. So I'm going to keep going too. All right, this is a cool back pose. So right away, I can tell you her left leg is holding her up. Her hip on her left side is up. Her shoulders are pretty straight. Usually her other shoulder, if that side of your hip is up, the other side of your shoulders would be up. So these counterbalance each other. And this is her leg right here. And this is her other leg. Kapow. But because of the way her arm is posed, she's got her hand on her hip. So that brings her shoulder back up straight a little bit. And then we see her arm come out and on her hip over here. And then this arm is over here. And I think the hula hoop's touching the ground, right, Katie?
Yep.
Yeah, so that helps a little bit. I don't know how much weight she's putting on it, but that helps a little bit, right? So you want to think of where the head is pointed. You want to think of where the feet are planted, but at the same time, you also want to think of what's holding you up. So if you're like in a pose that's laying down or your arms are holding up a cane or something like that, then you're definitely going to want to make sure that you take that into account. Shoe fly, shoe. So great. So this arm, I've already drawn the ellipse going towards us, and I'm gonna keep going with that. I think it's the ellipse is going back. Great pose, Katie. This one's awesome.
Thanks.
Her skirt in the back, the skirt is full. It goes all the way around. In front, it cuts. Legs. I probably made her leg a little short, but that's okay. I'm just going to resize it so I can fit. Try not to cut off your characters as much as possible. So again, ellipses are our friends. They seem really scary to draw in real life, especially getting them perfect. It's really hard. But ellipses in general, like I'm not going all the way around. You just want to give the idea of how this leg is acting in space. So which way these ellipses go. The secret is all ellipses, people. I keep saying that word. Probably said it like 1,000 times as I'm drawing. All right. And I think this is a giant hood too, right? You have a hood, Katie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Katie's got a hood. And I notice now that I've drawn a lot of this stuff, this arm is a little too small. So I'm going to go back. With this, it's really easy. I'm just going to resize it a little bit. Maybe a little bit better. I could probably just redrawn it. I just wanted to show off my fangled dangled computer stuff. And her hand, real quick, I'm gonna wrap that. And then use these suspenders. And there you have it. There's another 5-minute pose. And this is getting a little bit more finished than the 30-second one. I'm still pretty slow. I'm talking to you guys and going over some other stuff. But I think for the next one, I'll definitely just try to blow through it and finish. So, okay. And she's giving me a sitting pose now. So, like I said, you want to think about what's holding the person up. That's really important. So now we have a chair involved. And it seems like, oh, okay, no sweat. But what I've learned from all the teachers that I've had in the past is if you have a chair, you try to draw the figure as as perfectly as possible, and then add the chair later. So I'm going to try to add the chair and remember that she's sitting in it. So her butt is on the chair and her feet are touching, and she's sitting with her arm against the back of the chair. So those are all things that are going to throw off normal proportions and normal weight balance. So let's get into this one. So I've drawn Katie sitting down on nothing. So now that I have her seated, now I'm going to try to go back and add the chair around her, right? And chairs are not easy either. Perspective is hard. Perspective is not as easy as everybody makes it out to be. Although I make it out to be easy. I'm not gonna lie. Just in case any of my other friends from Storyboard Art are watching. Chairs are easy, guys. So there, it's not perfect, but it gives you an idea, right? And I probably have a fourth leg over here somewhere. Not going to draw that fourth leg though. It's in the back.
Wahab, do you want to talk a little bit about what you do at Storyboard Art?
Yeah, so my buddy, my friend Sergio Paez started his own online school for storyboarders. He's a professional storyboarder. He's worked for all the major companies, LucasArts, the guys that make Star Wars, the guys that he's worked at Pixar. He's done independent films. He's done big major budget films, and he decided to open his own online school. And I've been helping him out for the last couple of years. I write some emails for him. I also write some lesson plans for him. I help critique student work. And lately he's been doing a mentorship. So right now he's opening up his mentorship for the next year. And I'm helping out with that. I'm also joining the mentorship to see what it's like to be on the other side. Yeah, it's a fun thing. They don't really teach this too much in school. We go over art in school, and we go over life drawing and that kind of stuff. But storytelling is something a little bit different. And I think you know this, right? From school, like I think story is like one of the last things you learn, right? It's very specific and specialized that not even in art school you get a lot of that. Am I right or wrong about that, Lauren?
Well, I my only art program was a comics program, so that was a little bit different.
Oh, so it was all story.
Yeah, story
That's
was
good.
important.
So yeah, in the normal art school, we're doing this like 24/7 mostly. There was like I think maybe like 1 or 2 courses of actual storytelling. So it's something that you don't get every day, and it's something that he offers on his website. There's a lot of free content on there too that we teach. Right now, he's got a portfolio challenge that's really fun, and the first lesson is about different lenses, how to look through like a camera lens, like how you would draw the difference and why you would draw the difference. Like what would a super extreme close-up be compared to something more of a wide shot? Why would you use that? What would the intention be? Another fun lesson is leading the viewer's eye, like why you want them to go to this story point. All neat stuff that he goes over. All right, so this I got a little bit further. She seems like she's sitting on the chair, right? Hopefully I did that right. It's really hard using a chair, but I think I did it fairly well. I think, like I said, if I kept drawing the chair right, it would go back there, and there would be that 4th leg. Maybe that bottom leg is in the wrong spot, but that would be easy enough to move anyway. And with perspective, this would just be a sketch anyway, and you would go back and double check everything, and then fix. Like if you look at all of these, like none of these are perfect, none of these are great, but they get the job done. And remember, these are only like 5 minutes long, so you go back, and then this is just a rough map to finish.
Oh, they're cool.
Thanks. So let's see. We got like 15 minutes left. Let's go until they tell us to go home. How's that, Katie? That sound good to you?
Yeah.
I'll stop you guys at like 5 of.
All right. So this is going to be like a 10-minute pose, Katie.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
All right. So this will go a little bit longer. I'll try to get as much information into this drawing as possible. And then we'll see what happens. And we'll see, how will I do. All right. Katie's about to a nice standing pose for me, Katie. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Don't put me in a chair. Or don't put yourself in a chair. All right. All right. And that's comfy for you for 10 minutes, right? About roughly 10. Okay, cool. All right. And I'll start when I see her stop moving on my screen.
I'm just impressed she can stand in those shoes for 10 minutes.
No problem.
Yeah, they have a bit of a hill to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That also helps the drawing. So real quick, let's just go over this pose, right? I think, are you leaning against the wall at all, Katie? You don't have to move. Yeah. So she's using the wall to support herself a little bit. Because I was going to say, this looks a little tricky. I don't know how long she can hold it. But as long as she's holding herself up against the wall, her legs don't really have to support her as much. So this is what I see, right? Her head is tilted a bit this way. Right? So this is the ellipse again. This is her eye ellipse. Her neck comes down. The collar is pretty straight. Her shoulders, her right shoulder is higher than her left shoulder. Then we go down to her hips. It looks like this hip is up. And this one is down. So I'm guessing, no, it's pretty straight. Hold on. Her hips are pretty straight. I think that wall holding is doing pretty good. And I'm gonna guess this leg is the one that's holding her up. I'm gonna go back, shrink it a little bit so I can fit her. So I'm just building myself a roadmap. It doesn't have to be super pretty. I think a lot of people's fears with drawing are like, oh, I suck. I can't do this really well. Or, you know, it always looks like garbage or whatever. But you have to put in the work. You have to do like a million horrible drawings before you get something great, right? If you're a basketball player, how many hoops do you miss? If you're a baseball pitcher, how many, you know, home runs do you get hit off of you? Or how many, if you're a hitter, how many strikes do you get, right? You have to ask yourself all these things. Same goes for being an artist. They're not all going to be home runs. But at the same time, you know, you're not going to be able to do it unless you practice. So here I'm going to use that as my map. I think the structure is pretty good in this one. So I'm going to go and lighten it and then draw her out a little bit more. Okay. So some other things I noticed, right? Her belt is definitely tilted this way, right? Just a bit. And now I'm going to go for this. I didn't even bother with this shoulder pad, but now I'm going to add it. And now that I'm going back over this, I'm going to add that flourish of that shoulder pad because that's a huge item that doesn't really tell us too much directional wise. Got a giant hood. And the other ones, I was just drawing these as like scribbles, but here I have time. They're going to be actual hearts. And then again, the suspenders really help us to show which way her body's moving in that. The curve of the shoulder pad helps there. Our arm fold, I'm going to add, and I don't really see this on her. Like her costume is a little bit baggy right there, but I'm accentuating and I'm exaggerating that arm fold, the fold of her, the inside of her elbow. And I'm adding like a layer of clothing right there. It's not that loose, but it helps to give that idea off. And I'm gonna add that. And she has like And all the other ones, I didn't even notice this. But at the tip of her sleeve, there's like a little, like a donut type lump on that part. And bring her hands in. Look at that. I'm actually drawing fingers now, guys. What? Okay. And I'm still speeding up. Like, these ruffles aren't exactly this shape, but if and when I get the time, I will go back and fix all that. Okay. And now these knobby looking legs that I drew, I can actually go back and make them real legs. And also I notice now on my screen, this is a tangent. So let me real quick. This
Just
right here.
Just a heads up, I'm gonna have you wrap up in a minute.
No problem. So that is a tangent. If you look at the screen and look at Katie, I'm probably not gonna finish, but that's fine. In real life, that's actually her leg meets her crotch, meets the tip of that corner of her dress. So I don't want to draw that like that because that's going to draw way too much attention, wanted or not. Because I want everybody to look at the actual character. So I'm going to change it just a little bit, right? I'm going to move either her dress a little bit, maybe move this. Yeah, maybe I'll just move that a little bit. And then, so if I move the dress a little bit, now I can draw her leg and her thigh coming together naturally, and that gets out of the way. How much time we got, Lauren?
I think actually, yeah, I think we're gonna have to wrap up.
All right.
Thank you both so much. This has been super amazing and informative, and I have learned a lot of things that I feel like I should have probably already known about figure drawing, but did not.
Awesome, that's great. There you go. And I can just keep going now that I have the sketch underneath. So, you know.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
thank you, Katie. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, super fun.
So just to wrap up, if you want to support our wonderful artists today, you can find Katie's work at klongiway.com. You can find Katie on Instagram at KatieSaurusRex with 2 X's, on Twitter at KatieSaurusRex with 1 X, and at paypal.me/Katie Longiway. And you can find Wahab on Instagram at Wahab ALG and at storyboardart.org. And if you have drawn Katie today, or if you're drawing Katie later and you want to share your drawings, feel free to tag us at SF Zine Fest on Instagram. Just to let you know some other stuff that is happening with Cyberfest. We have our Q&A next with our guest of honor for this week, Death P. Sun. And then all week from 6 to 7, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and clearly I have a typo in this. We have show and tells Friday, not Thursday, Friday, September 18th. We have our Thinking Captions zine reading, which is going to be organized by Death P. Sun, and I am very much looking forward to that. So that's Friday, September 18th, not Thursday, September 17th. You can buy Week 2 Festival merch at our store. Head over to sfzinefest.org, click on our store, and you can see Death P. Sun's amazing poster and sticker, and those are ready to buy, ready to order. You can also check out last week's guest, Alex L. Combs's work, which is also available for sale. Next week, we will be revealing Tana Tucker's festival merch, so get ready for that. And ASL interpretation services were provided by the wonderful ProBonoASL. We are eternally grateful to them. They are just doing fantastic, fantastic work. And SF Zine Fest is a member of Intersection for the Arts. Intersection for the Arts is a Bedrock Bay Area arts nonprofit that provides people working in arts and culture with fiscal sponsorship and resources to grow. We are eternally grateful to Intersection for the Arts. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this Cyberfest event. We're very excited that we could have it on. Wahab and Katie were amazing. Gregorio and Ashley, thank you so much for interpretation. Thank you to all of our volunteers who helped out with this. And if you would like, we will very shortly start our guest of honor panel with Death P. Sun.